Welcome to Big Foamy Head, intro to kegging, or stepping up to kegging, I guess it would be a better term for it. Recently I've been wanting to get rid of the yeast I had in my beer bottles, my homemade brews. And the reason that's there is because when you bottle, typically, you add a little bit of sugar in and carbonation tabs or just some regular corn syrup into the bottling bucket. And that'll ferment inside the bottle. It's called bottle conditioning. You end up with yeast in your bottle. Alright, I got tired of that twang. So what I wanted to do was use a counter pressure bottle filler. So this is the More Beer counter pressure bottle filler. It's got a beer line comes in, gas line comes in, a single valve that controls both. So you purge your bottle with CO2, move it over, and start filling with beer. Then when this will vent as the pressure builds up to keep the pressure equalized in the bottle. Pull it out, you have your beer bottle there, a little bit of foam, put the cap on, cap it real quick. So, bought that, and I knew I needed to get a corny keg and a CO2 canister. I went to my local homebrew shop, Mid-South Malts, and bought one. It was a good deal, $200. They gave me a dual gauge regulator, a gauge cage, and a CO2 bottle and a corny keg. And I discovered, well, guess what, you have to keep your beer cold. So, went out and bought. You can look online for a used fridge. Most of the refrigerators are the two-door types. They don't have very much square footage of the floor of the fridge where you put your kegs. So I wanted to have as much area as I could with that 1-inch freezer, because I'm running out of room in the garage. So I got the upright. And got this one from Lowe's. It's about $400. Free shipping. No payments for 12 months. Obviously that's a trap. You have to be careful about. So I figured as long as I was getting a fridge, I may as well get a few more 40 kegs. So I went out and bought another kit. This kit comes with, so I have an official kegerator here. I did an upgrade on the nozzles. Midwest Supplies, where I bought this equipment. They have a great deal. $300, 2 corny kegs, a CO2 tank, pressure regulator, all the shanks, hosing that you need for a kegerator. So Midwest Supplies. What we have here are 3 different corny kegs. Cornelius kegs, soda kegs, Pepsi Company. They're all ball lock. And, well, ball lock. There's 2 types. So one is a pin lock and this is a ball lock. So I went with all ball lock equipment. We have the CO2 tank here. Bring it up a bit. This is what's called a gauge cage. I went ahead and bought a couple of extra nuts and bolts to kind of keep these spread apart. This protects your gauges in case the tank falls. Here's your pressure regulator. You just dial it in to pressurize your lines as much as you want. So that opens and closes it. The CO2 tank goes to a manifold. I looked at different ones. They're available at different suppliers. Obviously More Beer has one, Northern Brewer, all your online brew supply stores have one. But I didn't know what size lines I had. So you have little barbs in there for the gas lines. I went ahead and built one from scratch from Home Depot. It turned out to be a little pricey. I guess brass fittings are expensive. So I walked out with a $72 bill for that, just for these little 4 valves, the T's, spacers, and the barbs. But I'm glad I did that, because this is a 3/8 barb, that's 3/8, and those are 1/4-inch gas lines. So this gives me flexibility on what size barbs I use. These are the CO2 lines. They will attach to these, which are the beer lines coming out. So they go from the corny keg, beer comes out, and this is called a shank on the door. And that goes through to the faucet. I have one other gizmo. This is called a party tap, or I forgot the other name for it. But there's, you hear them talking about it. You can actually stick a hose in here and do bottling if you're not interested in counter pressure bottle filling. So that would be the 3rd option. Now, the nozzles. you hear them talking about it. You can actually stick them. First, you need to cut a hole in the door like this. These are 1-inch bore holes. So the shank comes through, and then you tighten down the shank and then put the nozzle on. I did the nozzle upgrade. These are the called Ventmatics, and they're seal forward. They're supposed to never stick, and they're supposed to be more sanitary. And it's all stainless steel. So that's it. The drip tray, 6-inch drip tray. And lots of dollars later, I'm in business. Any questions?